What is up and welcome back. If this is your first time watching, we are your Emerald Coast relocation team. We're going to be talking about pace today and kind of why we're seeing so many people who are relocating here. Towards the end of it, we're going to talk about some reasons why we think people are choosing pace over a few of these other cities like Milton, like Gulf Breeze, like Pensacola, why they are choosing pace over all of those. But first things first, let me get rid of all the boring stats, right? The stats that you could pretty much Google, look up anywhere. Majority of this beginning stuff is going to be based off World Population Review. So the first thing is, where is pace at? Well, if you look on a map or if you decide to Google it, you're looking at about a 24-minute drive from downtown Pensacola. Would you say they could maybe make it here a little bit quicker than that?
Yeah, I think you can get over here in about 20 minutes. Now,
Okay.
there's only 2 lanes right now. I think they're working on it to get out, so traffic can be a factor when you get out on 90 coming across in, but it's pretty basic. You should be able to get here in about 20 minutes. It does extend fairly north, so if you're going to the north or northwest side of it, you might be looking at more like 30.
Yep.
But yeah, pretty easy go.
And what do you think about the beach trend? I'm trying to think, right? Like I said, I'm not even going to try and Google this one right now. Just from living here, from our experience of living here, would you say like 30, 35 minutes to the beach probably?
I would lean towards 35, maybe even 40 minutes. You
Okay.
know, it's still very doable, but I don't want to tell people 20 to 30 minutes because it's a little bit further out. It's nice in that because you get more of a country feel out here, and you still have access to the beach, but it's going to be a little further out than Pensacola.
Yeah, and make sure you do stick around towards the end because there are a lot of you who have chosen pace to pretty much move into because you like the fact that it has that distance from the beach. All right, the second thing we're going to be talking about is the population. Population in pace is 26,593. So depending on where you came from, I mean, I came from a city, that was multi-million people and all that stuff. But depending on where you come from, this might be small town, or if you are coming from somewhere smaller like Gulf Breeze proper is a little over 6,000 people, guys. So pace is definitely bigger than Gulf Breeze proper, but it's still got that small town vibe, that small town feel when you are within pace.
Yeah, Pace has definitely got the small town vibe and community. I think that's something that's been appealing to a lot of people. Lots of little subdivisions here where you do have that real family feel around it. I think that's real appealing, very appealing to a lot of people. You also kind of, I see a little bit bigger lot sizes out here. So, they're not so on top of each other. You get a little bit more bang for your buck, but you still have access to that beach.
And outside of just helping you guys when you guys are interested in pace, what do we look at when we say that pace is blowing up or that pace is growing? Just looking at the stats with the population, so pace has actually grown 21.44% since 2020 and has an annual growth rate right now of 1.79%. So it is growing like crazy right now in population, and we are definitely seeing a little bit.
I would put some of that towards a lot of the new developments.
Yeah.
Pace, if you are looking for some of the new communities or new developments, newer builds, there's a lot of those going on in Pace. Several of the builders have kind of claimed some land out here, and it's going fast.
Yeah, I mean, we were just driving up here, guys, and we're like, holy crap, D.R. Horton. Seems like they're buying up all the land around here. We saw a bunch of trees that were torn down, and we're like, that's probably going to end up being another development as well, too. Pace is pretty much preparing for that influx of people who are moving over into here, and it has become one of those top spots that so many people are relocating to within the kind of the Pensacola metro area.
And we're seeing a lot of the commercial come in to support it. They've got their own Lowe's, their own Target, their own Home Depot, Dick's Sporting Goods, lots of restaurants, a lot of growth.
All right, 2 more quick facts that I am going to throw out there before we do break into the cost of living of Pace as compared to Florida as a whole. The first one's going to be the rate of home ownership. A lot of you guys wonder about this. It's like, am I going to be having a bunch of rentals in my neighborhood if I do decide to purchase here? So the rate of home ownership in Pace is 83.7%. That is an awesome number. A lot of home ownership within Pace. And then also another thing is that median age in Pace is 37.2. These might just be random facts that you guys really don't care about, but some of you we have found are kind of asking these questions of us, either on the back end or when you're commenting down below, just saying, hey, what is this? What is that? So that's why we like to bring this information and then really digging into the meat on the bone when we are talking about the latter portion of the video. All right, let's go ahead and get this cost of living out of the way, and then we'll get real conversational here, kind of talking back and forth about why we think that people are relocating into Pace. I'm sure we revealed a few of it a few times, but there's some deeper stuff that we'd like to go into as to why we think people are choosing Pace in this Pensacola metro area. So cost of living overall, so what we do is we use the cost of living index where 100 is your national average. If it's above it, it's more expensive, and if it's below it, it's cheaper than your national average. And I actually pulled Pace and Florida so we could compare the two of those. Overall, Pace is at a 99.8, so 0.2 points below your national average. And then Florida comes in at a 103.1, so it's cheaper than Florida and your national average. So that's a good thing to kind of say when we are talking about those of you relocating into Florida. Now let's look at your groceries. Your groceries comes in at a 98.8, where Florida as a whole comes in at a 102.8. So still cheaper than Florida when we are talking about those groceries. The next topic we're going to be talking about is your health. Health comes in at a 98.4, where the state of Florida comes in at a 102.3. So Pace is still cheaper than Florida as a whole, as a state. And then we're going to look at housing. Now this housing number is going to take your rentals and then also the cost to purchase a house within Pace. You're looking at a 91.3. So almost 9 points lower than your national average, where Florida as a whole comes in at a 101.1. So if you are looking at relocating into Florida, you are going to be getting a little bit more bang for your buck purchasing in Pace as compared to a few of these other, probably like Tampa, Clearwater, Orlando, a few of these other areas. All right, the final cost of living that we're going to be talking about is that median sales price. What are you going to be paying for a house? These numbers are based off of August of 2024. That median sales price is $366,000, and that number is actually down year over year 5.35%. Again, this is the median sales price as of August of 2024. Typically what I like to do is I like to break it into your single family and your attached. The thing about it is there's not too much attached, so the numbers didn't really pull for attached products when I did pull those numbers. So let's just say your overall and your single family are sitting at the same number of $336,000. All right, cool guys. Now let's go and break into the fun stuff. What is the appeal about Pace and why so many people are choosing it? Before I do it though, if you are planning on relocating into the Emerald Coast, purchasing out some real estate, make sure you give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right below it there, we always answer. It doesn't matter day or time, but if you're not quite ready to move yet, do yourself a favor and follow along by smashing that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell that we're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. Guys, I'm trying to hold together. We both came from Gulf Breeze. There's usually that ocean breeze coming across. I'm sweating like crazy. It's like I'm hoping it didn't get my eyes. That's why I wore a hat, so hopefully I'm not sweating too crazy. I feel it run to my arms. It's just, the air up here is so still, right?
We're almost there.
We're used to
almost there,
we're
Steve.
used to that breeze, you know? And so we're in September right now. October's when it really starts to get nice.
Our fall season's coming.
Yeah, it is. It's coming, so we're almost there. All right, so
breeze.
yeah, there we go. We got a little bit of a breeze. All right, so Trent, let's talk about this. What is the appeal of Pace, Florida?
I think, some of the things that I see are, we already kind of talked about the community feel it has. It's very, very family friendly, good community feel, access to everything you need without going into Pensacola.
Yep.
But also, there's some people that don't necessarily want to be right up on the water. Some people like more of the country feel, a little bit more vegetation. We see a lot of that out here, a little bit larger size lots.
Yep.
Now, you can still go and have a beach day in less than an hour, but you're not right up on it. You don't have the threat of the water, as much of the threat of flooding coming in.
Yep.
If we get a hurricane, which does happen in these areas, and I'm not saying that you're totally safe from hurricanes here, but the threat is a little less out here. We're still going to have wind, there's still going to be trees and limbs and some damage that can happen, but we're not in such a direct path of the storm surge and what happens on the coastline.
Yeah, guys, we've been getting so many of you reaching out who are interested in this area. Like I already mentioned when we're talking about that location to the beach, you're like, listen, I want to be close to the beach, but I don't necessarily want to live on the beach or super close to the beach. I want to be a little bit further out. And so that's why Pace in this Milton, even cantonment areas have become so popular when we are talking about this. And I'd say probably 50% of you guys right now who are reaching out to us are looking to live in these areas just a little bit north in the Pensacola metro area. And that's why it's so important that we do cover this for you guys, kind of expose you a little bit. I mean, we're on this path right now. We're going to break into some activities that are great in Pace, but this is like the entryway to one of the paths. Whether you want to bike, walk, whatever you want to do. This area, they're great about throwing these activities in, but then also just the development, kind of like Trent kind of mentioned, they're bringing a lot of the commercial products in, your retail, your Home Depots, your Lowe's, whereas before it wasn't so much. And I think that's a big reason why Pace is growing so much faster than Milton is right now, because they are lacking those things. So they have the development here, and then they also have the retail, they also have the restaurants, and that is a huge appeal to living in Pace. You kind of have that rural lifestyle without having to lack all those amenities or without having to sacrifice those amenities living within Pace.
Yeah, I would agree. And in addition to that, I see a lot of people going after the schools and the sports. Pace is always competitive, no matter what sport it is. We see them, you know, they're big key players in everything. And,
Yep.
you know, youth sports, high school, middle school, and then it's part of Santa Rosa County schools. So as we've said in some of our other videos, Santa Rosa County schools, they're just going to be rated a little bit higher.
Yep.
So we got a lot of the families coming out here wanting to, you know, get their kids in a good school system.
Yeah, and so if you go to niche.com, which is where we pull all these numbers, Santa Rosa County is rated a B+. I didn't pull the numbers for this PACE specific schools. I did cover this in a video a couple weeks ago. I pretty much laid out all the schools in all these different areas or these different cities within Pensacola Metro. Make sure you go back to that video and check that one out. But yeah, they have some great schools here. What comes to the top of mind, because Trent and I, we kind of try and talk about this before we do this video, is when my son has a wrestling tournament, because he wrestles for Gulf Breeze, Pace and Niceville are the only two clubs that really come in there. Just they look well prepared, looks like they're well coached, and all the other ones are a little bit more scattered. And I think that really like a school's sports programs really speaks to how that school is running, how the administration is running, and I've definitely noticed that Pace has got it together. All right, so with all that being said, if you're still watching right now, I'm probably talking like crazy fast, but if you're still watching right now, I think what we wanted to gather from this video is why should you decide to choose Pace over all these other cities that are located within the Pensacola metro area? And we're just going to highlight a few things that we kind of already mentioned. So let's think about it. So like new builds, if you want a newer home, Pace is definitely one of those things for you. If you don't want to live within the downtown of Pensacola and have a little bit more rural area, but not sacrifice those amenities, I mean, Pace is definitely something that's for you.
Definitely.
What are some other ones, Trent? I'm trying to think of
you know,
some.
we went into the school systems.
School systems, yep.
You know, I think you just touched on it, but less of the hurricane threat. Just more of the country feel, the country vibe, the larger lots.
And so now that I'm talking about all this as well too, is the tourism. And so like when we're down in like Gulf Breeze or, you know, in the Pensacola area, you get a lot of tourists coming in during, you know, the summer season. And so up here, you're not going to see too much of that. So if you don't want to be anywhere near those tourists when they do come here during the summertime, Pace might be a great spot to live. All right, cool guys, I have got to end this. Otherwise I am going to be drenched in my shirt by the time we're done with this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are planning on calling the Emerald Coast your next home, make sure you give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right below it there, we always answer. It doesn't matter date or time, but if you're not quite ready to purchase, make sure you follow along by smashing that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell, that way you're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. Until next time, love ya.